Russia's RT brings the latest news about RBOT and the Sochi Olympic torch relay. Australia's ABC introduces the Australian wind power industry that's gaining attention from the government. Vietnam's VTC reports on an attractive investment destination in Vietnam. Korea's Arirang TV covers the importance of cybersecurity technology and the cutting-edge unmanned defense systems in Korea. Hello, I'm Brian Doe from Global Business Report, bringing you the latest IT and business news from various parts of the world. I'm always fascinated about learning, especially in the cyber age. I missed out on some of the possibilities of online education. But can you imagine learning computer science for free from Bill Gates or Mark Zuckerberg? A nonprofit organization called Code.org recently announced the Hour of Code, a campaign to introduce students in America to 1 hour of computer science. And it will feature guest lectures by technology leaders. IT leaders such as Microsoft founder Bill Gates, Facebook CEO Mark Zuckerberg, Twitter co-founder Jack Dorsey, and many others will be sharing their knowledge with these students. These knowledge-sharing activities have now become possible thanks to the internet revolution, for you and for me. Now, let's begin this week's Global Business Report. First, the latest IT news from RT.
In a world where the internet has transformed communication, a Russian company called RBOT has developed a robot to bring people even closer. These little machines have a Wi-Fi internet connection. All you do is place an iPad or a smartphone on the robot and you can communicate with anyone you want, anywhere in the world. In the words of one of their creators, the robot gives your smartphone legs.
The main idea is to develop the idea of a video presence to communicate by Skype through a robot, which can move and can take things. Once you can communicate through a robot, you will see how different it is to communicating via Skype through an ordinary computer. When you're just communicating via Skype, you don't have the same freedom of movement, but these robots give your smartphone physical legs and a body.
We're inviting you to a world where smartphones are able to run. It will be a new world, a world of running smartphones. Because right now, smartphones are unable to move. They're just lying there.
Are you ready?
I am always ready like a pioneer.
How's it going? How are you today? How are you?
I don't understand you. I am a Russian robot.
What's your name?
My name is Fyodor.
My name is Edward, by the way.
Nice to meet you, Edward.
But these little machines actually have a much more important function than just small talk.
This Dalek-looking robot does more than you might think. He allows you to study, work and socialise remotely. Him and his friends are already helping ill and disabled people work from home.
We'll give discounts for state institutions when they buy our robots for disabled kids. For example, kids with weak immune systems are not allowed to visit crowded places such as schools, so they study remotely using robots.
What is also interesting and unusual about RBOT is that it's an example of the triumph of the entrepreneurial spirit in a country where it's not always that easy to open and run your own business. The robot's chief designer and CEO of RBOT used to work in the state-funded space industry along with many members of his family. After setting up RBOT, he failed to get funding for his idea from the government and instead funded most of the research and development himself.
We didn't get any money from the government. In 2002, I started a business as an internet provider. We did pretty well and we got money to develop this project. Representatives from the mobile phone provider Megaphone made me an offer and I decided to sell this company 2 years ago. As a result, I got the money legally, which is very important in our country. Actually, I'm still using this money for this project. I also invested in a company based in the US and in a Chinese company as well.
The robots are built in China, but all the R&D is done in Russia. RBOT is an example of how private sector investment in a relatively small-scale, innovative industry can work. Edward Cowley, Primetime Russia.
Lit on October the 29th in Olympia, handed over to Russians on October the 5th in Athens, and delivered to Moscow on the next day. Now the Olympic flame has started its long and unique journey across the host country. Five-time Olympic champion in synchronized swimming Anastasia Davidova was chosen to be the very first torchbearer. 14,000 more will hand the flame to each other in the next 4 months, among them people of a range of profiles and backgrounds, including a special VIP guest.
There's a lot of expectation on any Olympic Games, but on these games I think there's a lot because there's been a lot of preparation and a lot of work to do, and I think it'll be a great Winter Olympic Games.
The 2014 Sochi Games Olympic torch relay has only just kicked off, but it has already been branded as historic. Covering more than 65,000 kilometers across nearly 3,000 cities, towns and villages in Russia, it will become the longest torch relay in history, and probably the most seen as well, with almost 130 million people being within reachable distance of the relay's route. For the first time in history, it will be taken for a spacewalk outside the International Space Station. That's before descending to the bottom of the world's deepest lake Baikal, heading to the top of the world at North Pole, and scaling Europe's highest peak, Russia's mountain Elbrus.
This is a unique opportunity to unite the nation and a great way to explore Russians themselves, because the torch will come with the flame to every single city, and for that moment this particular city will be the capital of the Olympic Games.
After 2 days in Moscow, the Olympic torch will head further inland before ending up at the ground opening ceremony of the Sochi Winter Olympic Games in exactly 122 days from now. Alexei Rashevsky, RT, Moscow.
Robots are fast becoming what we thought robots would be when we were children. And in Russia, they're becoming even more intelligent, especially when you pair it with your smartphone. And it seems like Russia is trying to break even more Olympic records before the Sochi Olympic Games even begin, with the longest torch relay in history. I'm curious, how are they going to keep that torch lit in space? I guess we'll have to wait and see. Next, Australia's ABC introduces the hottest IT business news.
Australians are embracing solar power. More than 1 million homes are now topped with panels, generating 4% of Australia's energy. But it could be argued wind power's the quiet achiever, generating just as much energy, but meeting plenty of headwinds. The anti-wind lobby has been vocal, complaining about noise pollution and health risks. Advocates for wind energy say those claims are overblown and talk instead about cleaner energy, new technology and community benefits, and say their campaign to drum up support is working.
It's just that happy people don't write letters to newspapers, happy people don't get in your face and lobby politicians.
The vast majority of people in wind communities, and polling does show this up, are in support of them. And that includes in places where they're being built.
More than $5 billion has already been invested in more than 60 wind farms, home to 1,500 turbines, around half of those in South Australia. They're currently generating 25 times less than market leader China and 20 times less than the US. But one thing's for sure, Australia's energy landscape is changing.
One of the biggest investors in Australia in wind energy is AGL. And they've been involved in gas and coal for many years beforehand, but they, like so many other companies, are moving in this direction.
Operators and investors in wind energy have spent the week sharing information at the All Energy conference in Melbourne. They say the biggest barrier to building wind farms is not community opposition, but uncertainty surrounding government policy.
We need a clear political support and commitment. Also, we need a clear renewable target. I think it's a question of a couple of years, then it's a business that can stand on its own legs.
Already, the Abbott government has announced it will scrap the carbon tax and close the Clean Energy Finance Corporation, and is planning to review the 20% renewable energy target. There's also different planning laws in each state, some with restrictions about how close wind farms can be built to residential areas. There are other challenges too, which surprisingly include an overall drop in energy demand.
And that's creating some tension between the renewable and the conventional power. So there's probably a need for some of the older plants to be withdrawn from the market to make room for the renewable energy.
Proponents say wind energy is a win-win for Australia. Last year it saved more than 7 million tonnes of carbon dioxide, the equivalent of taking 1.5 million cars off the road. And that's a lot of hot air.
Many countries are now considering a move towards renewable energy from thermal energy. And wind power is a major source of renewable energy, but it's hitting some road bumps in Australia. Clashes against conventional energy are creating headwind, but I'm sure they'll come out on top at the end of the day. Next, we'll see the reports from Vietnam's VTC.
There must be reasons for Honda, a famous brand, to operate in Vinh Phuc for the last 15 years. It's because the province has favorable geographical conditions, a good transport system, and high-quality human resources. However, the representative of this company said that beside advantages, many disadvantages still remained and should be addressed to assure investors.
Another challenge is that there are sudden changes in policies of the government or state authorities. For companies that set a business plan for a whole year like us, it's difficult for them to be well responsive to these changes and fulfill these requirements. This is also the biggest challenge facing us.
Vinh Phuc now has many industrial parks with necessary infrastructure. The province is especially fostering development of supporting industries to serve Japanese projects such as Toyota and Honda. Currently, 19 out of 126 foreign invested projects in Vinh Phuc are of Japanese investors with a total registered capital of nearly $2.7 billion. To attract more and more investors, Vinh Phuc has been offering incentives to investors and simplifying investment procedures as well.
It's necessary to build infrastructure and create favorable investment environment. This measure will make the province more and more attractive to investors and improve the competitiveness of the provincial economy as well. The authorities need to pay special attention to improvement of investment environment and infrastructure, actively solve difficulties for domestic and foreign investors into the province. Consequently, they will encourage investment into the province and improve investment efficiency.
After obtaining certain achievements, many investors wish to continue operating here.
As a mass producer, we wish to see the market for our products. Regardless what the government's policy is, we will continue putting investment here if there are markets for our products.
Vinh Phuc Province has been making policy changes, combined with training human resources to turn itself into an attractive, reliable investment destination for foreign investors.
No wonder certain areas in Vietnam host major companies like Honda and Toyota. They've paid attention to continually improving upon the foundational infrastructure to create a favorable investment environment for foreign investors. I'm sure the province will meet its goals and enjoy the benefits in the future. And now, Korea's Arirang TV reports on the importance of cybersecurity technology, and this is really cool, cutting-edge unmanned defense systems in Korea. Let's take a look.
In the face of the March 20th cyber attack and an increase in the number of hacking cases, cybersecurity is becoming more important than ever. And with this comes a growing emphasis on cybersecurity that can prevent these attacks from occurring. Along with the global IT trends to enhance cybersecurity, Korea's Electronics and Telecommunications Research Institute is also boosting its research in this field, and one of its latest technologies is the Internet Radar.
Internet radar technology detects cyber attacks in real time and allows people to respond as they occur.
The Internet Radar collects security information in real time and connects it with the geographical data to produce 3D visualization of the user's network environment. It shows you the area that has fallen victim to a hacking and the scope of the attack. And not only that, it has an integrated maintenance system which not only blacklists information such as the origin of the malicious codes, but also shows you the physical location of the source. The technology also allows for the swift detection and response to the spreading of zombie PCs in various parts of the world.
We can reduce the amount of time it takes to understand the scope of damage from cyber attacks down to 30 minutes. And the tracking technology, which used to take anywhere from 2 weeks to 1 month, can be reduced to 30 minutes, so we can identify the origin of the attack.
Meanwhile, phishing scams using text messages, commonly also known as smishing, are also becoming more elaborate. There's a mobile vaccine that blocks these smishing messages when you receive them. There are also various mobile applications. There's also technology that blocks personal information from being leaked, even if you have access to smishing message. This technology, which is based on the security element Mobile Trusted Module, completely blocks spam or the hacking of mobile devices, prevents personal information from being leaked when making payments, and cuts off illegal access.
A separate device within the hardware saves and processes the important information at once, which is why it is safer than existing smartphone security technologies.
And with more people making payments using their smartphones, smart wallets, which authorize the user and issue receipts through mobile phones, are becoming more popular.
If you receive a paper receipt and throw it away, personal information can be leaked that way. But with the mobile e-receipts, you won't have to worry about that problem.
A technology called S-PIN allows users to input their PIN number without worrying about exposure in public settings. The user must match up each digit with a particular color that has been preset on the phone. Losing personal information can lead to not only financial losses, but on the broader scale, it can threaten national security. And with this, the importance of cybersecurity and related technology will continue to increase.
At the Unmanned Technology Research Center, much research is underway on unmanned defense robots that look like various organisms.
Now, this is what they call a roly-poly robot because, well, it looks like a roly-poly. Now, they say it transforms into a reconnaissance robot when it's thrown, so let's give it a shot.
This pillbot can roll up and protect itself when needed, just like an insect. It can also be used in surveillance programs thanks to its fast speed and small size.
As you carry around this small robot, you throw it like a grenade when there is an enemy in the building, and you can watch the footage from a safe location.
Another bio-inspired robot is the Xenodyne. It is built so that it can maneuver around the mountainous terrain in Korea and can reach the speed of 1.68 meters per second even on rough surfaces. Recently, another Korean research team developed a running robot modeled after a cheetah. With its 4 legs alternating as they run, it meticulously emulates the movement of the animal.
While I was trying to think of how to build a fast-moving robot, I came up with the idea of modeling it after the fastest animal.
The cheetah robot is the 3rd fastest in the world and the fastest in Korea. By attaching a camera and infrared detector to the robot, it can be used in fires, military surveillance, or as a watchdog. For land defense, active development of unmanned robot vehicles is also ongoing. A leading robot of this kind is the K9 horse-type vehicle robot. This unmanned vehicular robot can monitor the front lines, search and scout areas, detect landmines, and more. For the ocean, the submarine robot with its multiple joints looks like a crab and lobster and is called a crabster. It can work for long hours offshore and in deep waters instead of divers. It moves along the bottom of the sea and can perform various tasks such as look for sunken vessels, assist in rescue work, monitor the environment, and take part in the maintenance of undersea plants. Not only that, recently a defense company developed an intelligent unmanned air vehicle. It can fly at an altitude of 150 meters and at the speed of 30 kilometers per hour.
Now this unmanned aerial vehicle can fly with great stability because it has so many wings and propellers. Also taking into consideration mobility, it can be easily folded up and transported.
Now this aircraft features a GPS system loaded onto it, and so it can automatically navigate its way to a certain point once pinpointed on the map.
By using LTE networks, the aircraft can be used in the US while being controlled in Korea. And as long as you have a mobile phone, the footage can be received from anywhere.
Many more developments are expected to come in these unmanned robots that will protect soldiers on the battlefield as well as aid in the efficiency of defense operations.
Touchscreens are now evolving into voice and gesture recognition technologies. And the next rising technology is brain-computer interfaces. Systems that do not rely on muscular activity and allow users to translate the electrical activity of the brain in commands to control devices. If we can link this to robots and unmanned technology that we saw today, there's no end to the possibilities we can imagine. This will really get us into the next stage in robot technology, and it could quite possibly spark social debates. All very interesting to think about. So until next week, Global Business Report will always bring you the hottest news from IT and business world. Thank you.